The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the rural landscape as the American Flyer Line freight train rumbled down the tracks. Engineer Tom Jenkins hummed along to the rhythm of the rails, his gaze fixed on the signal ahead. Suddenly, a jolt surged through the train, followed by a terrifying screech of metal on metal. Jenkins slammed on the brakes, his heart pounding in his chest. "What the?" he muttered, peering into the rearview mirror. Smoke billowed from somewhere behind the locomotive, obscuring his vision. Grabbing the radio, he barked into the mic, "This is Jenkins on American Flyer 21085. We've got a problem." The response was static. Jenkins cursed under his breath. He waited for a few moments, then threw open the door and scrambled down the side of the engine. The sight that greeted him was a scene of chaos. Several cars back, a single train car, American Flyer Line's 21085, lay on its side, ripped from its couplings. The mangled wreckage of two boxcars and a caboose lay strewn behind it, spilling their contents across the tracks. A thick cloud of dust hung in the air, punctuated by the groans of twisted metal and the hiss of escaping steam. Jenkins's breath caught in his throat. He sprinted towards the wreckage, his mind a whirlwind of worry. Thankfully, there was no sign of a crew on the detached car. But what about the crew in the caboose? Ignoring the throbbing pain in his knee from his jump down from the engine, Jenkins scrambled over the debris, his shouts swallowed by the eerie silence that had settled over the scene. Relief washed over him as he saw two figures emerge from the upended caboose, waving their arms. They were shaken, but alive. As emergency sirens wailed in the distance, Jenkins helped the shaken crew members to safety. The cause of the accident would be a matter for investigation, but one thing was certain: American Flyer Line's 21085's runaway rampage had come to a screeching halt, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The NTSB investigation into the American Flyer 21085 incident was swift and thorough. The detached car, a tanker filled with volatile industrial chemicals, was the culprit. Investigators discovered a faulty coupler latch, likely due to improper maintenance or a manufacturing defect. The jolt that dislodged the car could have been caused by anything from a track irregularity to a sudden change in throttle position. The accident sent shockwaves through the American Flyer Lines company. The potential for an environmental disaster, thankfully averted, spurred a company-wide safety review. Engineer Jenkins, hailed as a hero for his quick response and ensuring the safety of the other crew members, became a reluctant symbol of the incident. He struggled with survivor's guilt, haunted by the what-ifs of the situation. Meanwhile, a small town named Oak Haven, located just a few miles from the derailment site, faced its own set of problems. The spilled chemicals, though contained, had seeped into the ground, contaminating the town's water supply. Residents were forced to rely on bottled water deliveries, a constant reminder of the accident. Fear and anger simmered in Oak Haven, directed not just at American Flyer Lines, but at the entire railroad industry. Sarah Jones, a tenacious environmental journalist, arrived in Oak Haven determined to uncover the truth. She interviewed residents, spoke with disgruntled railroad workers, and pored over the NTSB report. A pattern emerged: cost-cutting measures at American Flyer Lines that prioritized profits over safety. Sarah suspected there was more to the story than just a faulty coupler. As Sarah dug deeper, she crossed paths with Jenkins. Initially wary, he eventually opened up about the accident and his concerns about the company's safety practices. Together, they became an unlikely alliance, determined to hold American Flyer Lines accountable. Sarah's scathing exposé, fueled by Jenkins's first-hand testimony, ignited a public outcry. Facing mounting pressure from the public, regulators, and potential lawsuits, American Flyer Lines was forced to take action. The company implemented stricter safety protocols, invested in maintenance, and replaced its aging fleet. In Oak Haven, a long and expensive cleanup process began, with American Flyer Lines footing the bill. The scars of the American Flyer 21085 incident ran deep, but from the wreckage emerged a renewed focus on railroad safety, a newfound respect for the men and women who operate the trains, and a cautious hope for a safer future. Years passed, and the tracks through Oakhaven bore the quiet hum of a changed American flyer line. New locomotives, emblazoned with a safety-first motto, hauled their cargo. Jenkins, no longer on the front lines, had become a trainer, his harrowing experience a stark reminder to new engineers of the importance of vigilance. He often found himself looking out the window at the passing landscape, a silent guardian of the rails. One crisp autumn day, a knock on Jenkins's door drew him from his thoughts. Sarah Jones stood there, a hint of grief etched on her face. A recent accident, a repeat of a faulty coupler latch on a different line, had claimed lives. The fight for safety, it seemed, was never truly over. Sarah and Jenkins shared a long look, a silent understanding passing between them. The battle lines may have shifted, but their purpose remained the same. Together, they would ensure the lessons learned from American Flyer 21085 would not be forgotten, a testament to the enduring human spirit in the face of tragedy.
Stay tuned to see what comes down the line next on Chris's Tube.